My beloved child, listen carefully, because January 1 is not just a date on a calendar. This is a divine checkpoint. This is the moment where heaven draws a line between what was delayed and what is about to be released. What you are hearing right now was reserved for you only, and that is why something inside your spirit feels alert, almost urgent. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. At the very start of this year, God is speaking clearly. What I delayed was not denied. What I held back was being protected. And now, I am releasing it. Archangel Michael stands beside this decree, not as a symbol, but as an active messenger of timing, alignment, and breakthrough. The waiting season you survived was never punishment. It was preparation. You may not realize this yet, but the delay you struggled with last year created spiritual leverage for this year. There were doors you begged God to open sooner, conversations you wished happened earlier, outcomes you thought were late. But heaven says those moments could not arrive until now, because January 1 marks a shift in authority over your life. Hear this clearly. Something tried to outlast you. It failed. Something expected you to quit, grow bitter, or lower your expectations. You did. And because you stayed, this moment was preserved for you and you alone. Archangel Michael is revealing that the delay was strategic. If it had arrived earlier, it would have been touched by the wrong hands, influenced by the wrong voices, or misused by the wrong version of you. God did not want that, so He shielded it in time. Now, as this year begins, heaven is not asking if you are ready. Heaven is declaring that you have been made ready. There is a quiet authority forming around your name. People who once overlooked you will soon notice a difference they cannot explain. Situations that were stuck will begin to move without resistance. This is not because you fought harder, but because the timing has changed. January 1 carries a rare alignment. Archangel Michael speaks of a gate that only opens at the beginning of a cycle. This gate does not respond to effort. It responds to obedience and endurance. You walked through exhaustion. You stayed faithful when answers were silent. That is why this gate recognizes you. Let this sink in. What was delayed grew stronger. What you thought was lost matured in secret. What felt like silence was actually insulation. God was keeping it intact. You are stepping into a season where things begin to make sense backward. You will look at past disappointments and realize they were redirections. Missed opportunities will reveal themselves as divine protection. And the very thing you almost stopped praying for is now at the edge of manifestation. Archangel Michael says this year begins with release, not struggle. The pressure you carried is lifting. The confusion you wrestled with is dissolving. The weight on your decisions is easing. Heaven is not adding more to your plate. It is removing what no longer belongs. Pay attention to this. The release coming is not loud at first. It will arrive subtly. A message, a meeting, an unexpected clarity, a door opening without resistance. Do not ignore small movements. God often announces big shifts quietly. There is also a warning woven into this moment. When delayed things arrive, they require discernment, not desperation. Archangel Michael urges you not to rush, not to explain yourself, and not to chase validation. What is meant for you will align naturally. You will not have to beg this year. January 1 marks the end of survival mode. You are no longer just trying to get through. You are stepping into intentional living. Decisions will feel clearer. Boundaries will feel necessary, not selfish. Rest will no longer feel like guilt, but obedience. God is restoring your sense of timing. You will know when to move and when to wait. That confusion that made you second-guess yourself is breaking now. Archangel Michael is reinforcing your spiritual awareness so you can recognize divine openings without fear. Let me speak this directly into your spirit. You did not miss your moment. Your moment waited for you. This year will not be about proving anything to anyone. It will be about alignment, release, and restoration. The delayed promise did not rot. It ripened. And now, at the very start of this year, heaven is placing it back into your hands with clarity, strength, and wisdom. My chosen one, as this year opens, there is something important you must understand about how delayed things return. They do not come back the way you imagined during the waiting. They return refined, repositioned, and often disguised as something smaller at first. This is why many people miss their release. They are looking for fireworks, while God is moving through precision. Archangel Michael is revealing that January 1 activates a restoration that unfolds in layers. The first layer is internal. Before circumstances shift, your perception shifts. That heaviness you used to wake up with, the quiet dread about time running out, the fear of being left behind, those are being dismantled now. You are not stepping into this year with the same mindset you had before. Heaven adjusted you before adjusting your environment. This is crucial because the delay trained you. It trained your patience, sharpened your discernment, and detoxed your spirit from desperation. What once would have overwhelmed you will now be handled with calm authority. What once triggered anxiety will now be met with wisdom. That is how you know the release is real. Peace arrives before proof. Archangel Michael speaks of conversations that will suddenly feel different. People who once dominated the room will lose their influence over you. Opinions that once shaped your decisions will no longer carry weight. You are entering a year where you move from reaction to response. And that alone will open doors you didn't even know existed. Understand this clearly. God did not delay you because you were unworthy. He delayed you because the assignment attached to your blessing required maturity. The thing coming into your life is not small. It carries responsibility. It affects others. And you needed to become someone who could steward it without losing yourself. This year begins with alignment, not acceleration. Do not confuse the two. Acceleration without alignment leads to burnout. Alignment brings steady, undeniable progress. Archangel Michael is guarding your pace now. You may notice that some opportunities fade away quickly. Do not mourn them. They were never meant to survive into this season. There is also a release happening in relationships. Some connections will naturally loosen. Others will strengthen without effort. This is not abandonment. This is divine sorting. God is creating space so what was delayed can finally fit. You cannot carry old attachments into a new timeline. Pay attention to your intuition in these early days. Your discernment is heightened. If something feels off, pause. If something feels light and peaceful, lean in. Heaven is communicating through subtle confirmations. You are not meant to force anything this year. What is yours will recognize you. Now hear this carefully. When the delayed thing begins to show itself, there will be a moment of testing. Not to disqualify you, but to confirm you. You may be tempted to rush, explain yourself, or doubt that it is real. Do not. Stand still. Let it unfold. Archangel Michael says your calm will be your confirmation. This is also a season where your voice matters. What you say carries weight now. Speak life. Speak clarity. Speak with intention. Complaining will feel uncomfortable because it no longer aligns with who you are becoming. Gratitude will unlock speed. Silence will unlock strategy. Before I go further, let me speak directly to your heart for a moment. If this message is resonating with you, if you feel something settling in your spirit right now, take a second to engage with this space. Like this video so it reaches others who are standing at the same threshold. Share it with someone who hath been waiting longer than they admit. Leave a comment declaring that you are ready for divine timing. And if this channel has been a source of clarity and peace for you, subscribe and become part of this growing community. Your presence here is not random. There is a reason you keep coming back. This year is not about proving your worth. Heaven already settled that. It is about stepping into agreement with what God has decided. Agreement is powerful. It removes resistance. When you stop fighting the timing and start trusting it, things move faster than you expect. Archangel Michael is also protecting you from counterfeit blessings. Not everything that looks good is God. Some offers come early to distract you from what is perfectly timed. Do not settle just because you are tired of waiting. You have waited too long to accept substitutes. Notice how your prayers are changing. They are becoming simpler, more direct, less emotional, more trusting. That is growth. That is alignment. You are no longer begging heaven. You are partnering with it. And here is something many people overlook. When God releases what was delayed, He often also releases rest. You will find it easier to breathe, easier to sleep, easier to enjoy the present moment. That is not laziness. That is restoration. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Peace is. As this unfolds, stay aware. There is a specific sign coming, something personal, something meaningful, that will confirm you are on the right path. It may seem small to others, but it will speak loudly to you. When it happens, do not doubt. Acknowledge it and keep moving forward. Hold on, because what comes next will clarify how to recognize that sign and what to do when it appears. This is where everything begins to connect. Beloved one, now we move into the heart of what heaven wants you to recognize. The release God is bringing at the start of this year is not random, and it is not generic. It is personal, precise, and tailored to the prayers you whispered when no one else was listening. Archangel Michael reveals that this moment was sealed long ago, but it required the right alignment of courage, obedience, and surrender to unlock it. Many people think delay means God is unsure. That is not true. Delay often means God is exact. He does not work loosely with destiny. What is being released now carries consequences for the future version of you, not just the present one. That is why the timing had to be flawless. You may have felt forgotten during the waiting. You may have questioned whether your faith even mattered. But heaven never lost sight of you. In fact, Archangel Michael says your name was mentioned often in places you could not see. There were battles you never had to fight because they were handled before they reached you. There were doors quietly closed so better ones could be preserved. This release will first manifest as clarity. Confusion will break before circumstances change. You will suddenly understand why certain things could not work earlier. You will feel less emotional about past disappointments. That emotional charge is dissolving because you no longer need it to survive. You are stepping into stability. Be aware that when clarity comes, responsibility follows. God is not releasing this to impress others, but to position you. The blessing carries assignment. What you receive will also require you to lead differently, choose wisely, and remain grounded. This is not a season of reckless decisions. This is a season of intentional steps. Archangel Michael speaks of a shift in authority over your life. People who once had power over your emotions will lose it. Situations that once intimidated you will no longer feel threatening. You are not becoming harder. You are becoming steadier. There is a difference. Do not expect everyone to understand this change. Some will sense it and feel uncomfortable. Others will try to reconnect when they see movement. Discernment is crucial here. Not every reconnection is restoration. Tamortes. Trust the peace God gives you, not the pressure people bring. The delayed thing will not arrive with chaos. It will arrive with order. It will make room, not clutter. It will feel right even if it challenges you. That is how you know it is God. Archangel Michael emphasizes that divine releases do not steal your peace to prove their value. There is also healing attached to this release. Old wounds you thought were permanent will lose their sting. You will talk about past pain without reliving it. That is freedom. That is evidence that the waiting did its work. As this unfolds, guard your mouth. Speak less about what is coming and more about who God is. Not everyone needs access to your process. Some blessings grow best in silence. Let results speak for you. This is a year where obedience will feel lighter. What once felt hard to surrender will now feel natural to release. God is not forcing change. He is inviting you into it. And your yes carries weight right now. Hear this carefully. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not catching up. You are arriving exactly when you were meant to. The pressure to rush is not from God. The peace to proceed steadily is. Archangel Michael wants you to know that heaven is watching how you respond to this release. Gratitude will multiply. Humility will protect it. Comparison will contaminate it. Stay in your lane. What God is doing with you does not need validation from anyone else. Now, before this message continues deeper, there is something sacred I need you to do if this is speaking to your spirit. Type "I receive the release" in the comments if you feel alignment with this word. Blessing code 1441 has just been activated over your life. This word is not traveling by accident. It is moving like seed in open ground. As you hear this, God is speaking directly to hearts that are tired of delay and ready for alignment. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal in the description, you are sowing into light that reaches souls standing at the edge of breakthrough. I hear the Lord saying that those who water this work will not lack refreshment themselves. Just as oil was poured to keep the lamps burning, your act of obedience keeps this word flowing to those who need it most. This is not a donation. It is a prophetic response to what God is doing right now. I bless every giver with clarity, protection, and multiplied peace. Do it now, and let heaven record your obedience. Stay present, because what is coming next will reveal how to protect what God is releasing and how to recognize the moment when it fully arrives. Dear one, as this message unfolds further, you must understand something vital about this season you are entering. The release God is bringing is not fragile, but it is sacred. That means it must be handled with awareness. Archangel Michael is emphasizing that what arrives now requires protection, not from the world, but from distraction, self-doubt, and old habits that no longer match who you are becoming. One of the greatest mistakes people make after a long delay is rushing to prove that the wait was worth it. They overexplain, overshare, and overextend themselves. This year, you are not called to perform your breakthrough. You are called to steward it. Quiet confidence will take you further than loud announcements ever could. You may notice that your tolerance for noise is decreasing. Drama feels exhausting. Arguments feel pointless. Explaining yourself feels unnecessary. This is not isolation. This is elevation. Archangel Michael says your spirit is recalibrating to a higher frequency. and lower vibrations can no longer hold your attention. There will be moments early this year where you are tempted to return to old patterns, simply because they feel familiar. Resist that urge. Familiar does not mean safe. Familiar does not mean aligned. God is leading you into new rhythms, new boundaries, and new standards. Comfort zones cannot coexist with calling. Pay attention to how God is teaching you to pause before responding. Silence will become a strategy for you. Not everything deserves your reaction. Not every opinion deserves your energy. This discernment is part of the protection around what has been released. Archangel Michael speaks of a narrowing path. This does not mean loss. It means focus. Fewer distractions, fewer obligations, fewer emotional entanglements. What remains will be meaningful. What leaves was never meant to go with you into this next phase. You may also feel a renewed sense of responsibility toward your time. Wasted hours will begin to bother you. Procrastination will feel uncomfortable. This is not pressure. This is alignment. God is sharpening your awareness because the assignment connected to your release requires presence. Let me be clear. This year is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. Busyness is not productivity. Archangel Michael warns that overcommitment is one of the fastest ways to dilute a blessing. Learn to say no without guilt. Learn to rest without apology. There will be people who misunderstand your boundaries. Let them. You are not required to explain your obedience. Those who are meant to walk with you will adjust. Those who cannot were only seasonal. As the release continues to unfold, you may experience moments of fear, not because something is wrong, but because something is changing. Growth often feels unfamiliar before it feels good. Do not retreat just because things feel new. New is where expansion lies. God is also restoring your trust in yourself. The delay shook your confidence. It made you second-guess your instincts. That is ending now. You will begin to sense a quiet certainty returning. Decisions will feel clearer. Doubt will lose its grip. This is not arrogance. This is stability. Archangel Michael is guarding your mind in this season. Negative thought patterns that once looped endlessly will begin to break. You will catch yourself before spiraling. You will choose truth over fear more easily. This is evidence that the waiting season healed you more than you realized. Be mindful of comparison. When your release becomes visible, you may be tempted to measure it against others. Do not. Comparison is a thief that pretends to motivate. Your journey is unique. Your timing is intentional. Your blessing does not need to match anyone else's to be valid. There is also a call to gratitude in this season. Not forced gratitude, but grounded appreciation. When you acknowledge what God is doing, you create space for more. Gratitude keeps your heart soft and your perspective clear. You may notice that prayers you once repeated anxiously are now replaced with quiet trust. That shift is significant. It means you believe God hears you, even when He moves slowly. That belief changes everything. Archangel Michael wants you to know that protection is active around you right now. Delays, redirections, and even closed doors this year are not setbacks. They are safeguards. Trust the interruptions. Trust the pauses. They are part of the design. As this message continues, stay open. There is still more God wants to reveal about how this release will impact not just you, but the people connected to your life. What comes next will deepen your understanding and prepare you for what is about to unfold. My beloved one, as this divine unfolding continues, it is time to understand how deeply this release will touch areas of your life you may not have associated with the delay. Many think the waiting was only about one prayer, one goal, one outcome. But Archangel Michael reveals that the delay was connected to multiple layers of your destiny, and what is being released now will ripple upward in ways you did not anticipate. One of the first areas you will notice changes in your sense of identity. During the waiting, you were stripped of labels you once relied on. Roles you thought defined you were shaken. Titles you expected were withheld. That was not loss. That was refinement. God was teaching you who you are without external validation. And now, as release comes, you step forward from a place of inner certainty, not fragile confidence. This is why approval from others will matter less this year. You will still value relationships, but you will no longer depend on them to confirm your worth. Archangel Michael says this shift is essential because the blessing arriving requires leadership, even if your role is quiet. Leadership begins with self-governance. You may also notice changes in how you handle conflict. Where you once avoided it or engaged emotionally, you will now approach it with calm clarity. You will choose peace without feeling weak. You will speak truth without feeling guilty. This balance is a sign of maturity born from the waiting season. The delay also rewired your priorities. Things you once chased now feel empty. Things you once ignored now feel important. This is not confusion. This is alignment. God has adjusted your desires so they match what He is releasing. That is why this year will feel less forced and more intentional. Archangel Michael speaks of restoration in your inner life. Joy will return in quieter forms. Not loud excitement, but steady contentment. You will find pleasure in simple moments again. That is healing. That is evidence that survival mode has ended. There may be moments when you grieve the years that felt lost. Allow that grief, but do not camp there. Those years were not wasted. They built the foundation for what you are stepping into now. You did not fall behind. You were being fortified. This release will also affect how you relate to the future. Fear of the unknown will lessen. You will stop trying to control outcomes. Trust will replace tension. This does not mean you stop planning. It means you plan with flexibility, leaving room for God to adjust the path. Archangel Michael reminds you that obedience brought you here, not perfection. You made mistakes. You doubted. You questioned. Yet you stayed. That is what mattered. Heaven honors endurance more than flawless faith. There will be opportunities this year that require courage. Not reckless leaps, but brave steps. You will feel a nudge to speak when you once stayed silent, to move when you once hesitated, to believe when you once braced for disappointment. These nudges are invitations, not pressures. Be mindful of how you treat yourself in this season. The waiting may have made you harsh with yourself. That inner criticism is not needed anymore. God is not reviewing your past. He is inviting you into your future. Archangel Michael also speaks of alignment in provision. Needs will be met in unexpected ways. Resources will appear at the right time, not always in advance. This will teach you trust. God is not asking you to feel secure before you move, but to move knowing He is faithful. You may also sense a call to simplify, decluttering your space, your schedule, your commitments. This is not minimalism for trend's sake. This is preparation. A lighter life carries blessings more easily. As the release continues, remember this. Growth does not always feel like excitement. Sometimes it feels like quiet resolve. Sometimes it feels like letting go without drama. Sometimes it feels like choosing differently even when no one is watching. Those moments matter. Archangel Michael wants you to know that heaven is pleased with your perseverance. You are not invisible. Your faith was seen. Your tears were counted. And now, as this year unfolds, the results of that endurance will begin to appear, not all at once, but steadily, faithfully, unmistakably. Stay with this message. What comes next will speak about the external shifts that are already lining up and how to walk into them without fear. My chosen one, now we turn our attention to what will begin shifting around you externally, because internal alignment always precedes visible change. Archangel Michael makes this clear. What is happening within you is already sending signals ahead of you. Doors are responding before you arrive. People are reconsidering you before you speak. Situations are rearranging themselves quietly. This is how divine timing works. It moves ahead of you. One of the first external shifts you will notice is momentum. Not frantic movement, not pressure-filled urgency, but steady forward motion. Things that once stalled will begin to progress with less resistance. You will send a message and get a response. You will make an attempt and see traction. This does not mean everything will be instant, but it will be consistent. Consistency is the signature of alignment. Archangel Michael says this is because spiritual resistance has lifted. The delay created tension in unseen realms, and that tension has now been resolved. You may not see the battles that ended, but you will feel the ease that follows. What once required constant effort will now require discernment instead. Be aware that as momentum builds, so will attention. Some people will suddenly show interest in your ideas, your presence, your potential. This is where wisdom is required. Attention is not always alignment. Discern who has access to you. You do not owe everyone your time, your plans, or your energy. There will also be a shift in how authority figures respond to you. Whether in work, family, or community, you may notice a change in tone. More respect. More listening. Less dismissal. This is not because they changed, but because you did. Your posture carries authority now. Archangel Michael emphasizes that spiritual authority is felt before it is explained. You may also experience unexpected opportunities. Not dramatic announcements, but subtle openings. An invitation. A suggestion. A chance that feels timely. Do not overanalyze these moments. Pray, discern, and move when peace confirms it. Overthinking is one of the few things that can slow this season. This is also a year where old cycles will try to reintroduce themselves. Patterns you thought were finished may knock again. Not because they belong, but because they are testing whether you have truly changed. Your response will determine whether they stay in the past or try to reattach. Archangel Michael says this clearly. Do not negotiate with what God already delivered you from. You are not obligated to repeat lessons you have already learned. Closure does not require conversation. Sometimes it requires distance. As external shifts increase, manage your expectations. Not everything will happen at once. God releases in waves so you are not overwhelmed. Celebrate progress without demanding completion. Gratitude accelerates what impatience delays. You may also notice an increase in responsibility. People may lean on you more, ask your opinion more, trust you with more. This is not burden, but recognition. Still, remember you are allowed to delegate, decline, and rest. Overextension is not faith. Archangel Michael reminds you that rest is strategic this year. You are not called to exhaust yourself to prove gratitude. Rest will sharpen your discernment and protect your joy. Burn a cloud the judgment. Peace clarifies it. Now let me speak to you directly for a moment, heart to heart. If this message is helping you see your season more clearly, if it is strengthening you as you step into this year, take a moment to interact with this space. Like this video so this word reaches others standing at the same threshold. Share it with someone who has been carrying delay quietly. Comment something simple that declares alignment. And if you have not yet subscribed, do so now and become part of this community that grows together in faith and clarity. Your engagement is not small. It helps this message travel where it is needed. Hold on, because what is coming next will help you recognize one critical mistake many people make right after momentum begins, and how to avoid sabotaging what God is building. This next insight will protect everything you have waited for. As this season continues, remain grounded. You do not need to announce every win. You do not need to explain every choice. Let consistency speak. Let peace testify. Let results unfold in time. Archangel Michael assures you that you are not walking into this year alone. Guidance is active. Protection is in place. And wisdom is available whenever you ask. The release is real. The momentum has begun. And heaven is attentive to how you steward what is unfolding. Stay present. There is more revelation ahead, and it will help you move forward with confidence and clarity. My beloved one, now that momentum has begun to move around you, heaven wants to speak about something just as important as progress: stability. Archangel Michael is emphasizing that this season is not only about advancement, but about remaining rooted while things change. Many people can step into blessing, but few know how to stay grounded once it arrives. This is where wisdom becomes protection. As things begin to align externally, you may feel an inner tension between excitement and caution. That tension is not fear. It is discernment forming. You are learning how to hold joy without losing focus, how to move forward without abandoning wisdom. This balance will define your success this year. One of the first lessons of stability is emotional regulation. In a waiting season, emotions often swung between hope and disappointment. Now, God is teaching you steadiness, not numbness but consistency. You will notice that highs do not make you reckless, and lows do not derail you. This emotional maturity is a direct result of what you survived. Archangel Michael speaks of anchoring your days in intention. When life speeds up, routine becomes refuge. Simple practices, quiet moments, and daily awareness will keep you centered. This is not about rigid structure, but about rhythm. Rhythm keeps you aligned when noise increases. You may also notice that temptations change shape. When you lacked, temptation tried to pull you into despair or comparison. And now that things are moving, temptation may try to pull you into pride, overconfidence, or distraction. Be alert. Not everything that feels good is meant to lead you. This is especially important in how you handle praise. Recognition may come more freely now. Compliments may feel validating. Enjoy them, but do not feed on them. Identity rooted in applause becomes fragile. Identity rooted in calling remains steady. Archangel Michael warns that praise should pass through you, not live in you. Another area where stability matters is decision-making. As options increase, so does the need for discernment. Not every open door is a divine door. Some are distractions dressed as opportunities. Measure choices not by speed but by peace. Peace is heaven's confirmation. You may feel pressure to move faster than you should, especially if others are watching. Resist that pressure. You are not on their timeline. God is not rushing you. What is meant to last does not require haste. Slow obedience often produces the strongest outcomes. Archangel Michael also speaks about protecting your inner circle. As your season shifts, access must be reassessed. Some people were safe during the waiting but may not be wise during expansion. This does not mean cutting people off harshly. It means adjusting proximity with discernment. You are allowed to outgrow conversations that keep you small. You are allowed to distance yourself from constant negativity. You are allowed to protect your peace without explaining yourself. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors with locks. This season will also test your patience in a new way. Instead of waiting for things to start, you may find yourself waiting for things to mature. Progress without completion can feel uncomfortable. Trust the process. What God begins, He completes. Maturation weakens results. Archangel Michael reminds you that consistency matters more than intensity. Small, faithful actions will compound over time. You do not need dramatic gestures to honor God. Daily obedience is powerful. There may be days when nothing seems to move, even though momentum has started. Do not panic. Pauses are part of progression. Rest days do not cancel growth days. Trust the rhythm God is establishing. Also be mindful of self-talk. The way you speak to yourself now shapes how you carry this blessing. Replace harsh inner criticism with truth. You are learning. You are growing. You are allowed to adjust. Perfection is not the goal. Faithfulness is. Archangel Michael speaks gently here. Do not romanticize struggle. You do not need pain to feel purposeful anymore. Peace does not mean you are doing less. It means you are doing what matters. As stability forms, you will notice increased confidence in your voice. You will speak with clarity, not aggression. With conviction, not defensiveness. This is authority expressed through calm, not control. This part of the journey may feel quieter than expected. Do not mistake quiet for stagnation. Roots grow in silence. Foundations set without noise. What is being built now will support what comes next. Stay with this message, because the next unfolding will speak directly to how your obedience affects others connected to your life. This is where the impact widens, and understanding this will help you walk forward with humility and purpose. My beloved child, now heaven draws your attention beyond yourself, because what God is releasing in your life was never meant to stop with you. Archangel Michael is speaking clearly here. Your obedience during the delay created ripples that are only now beginning to reach others. You endured quietly, but your endurance carried weight in places you never saw. This season will reveal that your faith mattered more than you realized. As alignment deepens, you will notice that people around you begin to shift. Some will be inspired without knowing why. Others will feel confronted by your peace. Your growth will become a mirror. Not everyone will celebrate it, and that is okay. Your assignment is not to manage reactions, but to remain aligned. God often chooses people who were delayed to become stabilizers for others. You understand patience now. You understand disappointment without bitterness. You understand hope that survives silence. These qualities cannot be taught quickly. They are forged, and now they will be needed. Archangel Michael reveals that conversations will start happening naturally. People will open up to you. They will ask for perspective. They will seek reassurance. You are not required to have all the answers. Your presence alone will minister. Sometimes peace speaks louder than advice. Be mindful here. Do not try to rescue everyone. Compassion does not mean overextension. Jesus withdrew often, even while carrying the greatest assignment. Follow that wisdom. You are called to influence, not to exhaust yourself. This season also calls for humility. As God elevates you, stay teachable. Stay grounded. Remember where you came from, but do not live there. Gratitude keeps elevation clean. Pride contaminates it quickly. Archangel Michael speaks of generational impact. Some of what is shifting now will correct patterns that existed long before you. You are a breaker of cycles. That is why resistance was strong. That is why the delay felt heavy. What you are stepping into will bless people who may never know the cost you paid. You may feel a deeper sense of responsibility for your words and actions. This is not pressure. It is awareness. Influence grows quietly before it becomes visible. Integrity now protects you later. There will also be moments when you feel misunderstood. When growth outpaces explanation, silence becomes wisdom. You do not need to defend your obedience. God will vindicate through fruit, not arguments. Archangel Michael encourages you to stay rooted in prayer, not panic. When decisions affect others, clarity becomes essential. God will not rush you. He will guide you. Trust that guidance even when it leads you away from popular opinion. This season may stretch your compassion. You will see people still step where you once were. Do not look down on them. Reach back when you are able, but do not return to what God delivered you from. Your example is more powerful than your rescue attempts. As your impact widens, so will spiritual resistance try to distract you. Subtle discouragement. Old insecurities resurfacing. Fatigue without reason. Recognize it for what it is. Stay anchored. Rest when needed. Speak truth over your mind. You are protected. Archangel Michael assures you that obedience attracts covering. You are not walking into this alone. Help will appear when needed. Wisdom will surface at the right moment. Strength will rise when you feel stretched. Now hear this deeply. What God is doing through you will outlive applause. It will matter in unseen ways. Measure success by faithfulness, not recognition. Before we go further, there is a sacred moment of agreement required. Type "I am aligned with heaven" in the comments if this message is confirming something deep within you. Blessing code 2884 has just been released over your obedience and influence. As this word expands beyond you, understand that it is traveling to hearts that are still in the waiting room of faith. When you activate Super Thanks, step into membership, or give through PayPal in the description, you are placing oil in the lamp so this message keeps burning. I hear the Lord saying that those who sow into this ground are opening rivers, not just for others, but for their own households. This is seed placed into fertile soil, and heaven is watching the obedience behind it. Your giving becomes a voice that reaches where algorithms cannot. I bless every supporter with divine return, guarded peace, and multiplied wisdom. Act now, and let your obedience echo beyond this moment. Remain here, because what comes next will reveal how God protects you as your influence grows and how to stay hidden in Him even while being visible to others. My beloved one, as your influence widens and your obedience begins to touch lives beyond your own, heaven now speaks about protection at a deeper level. Archangel Michael is standing firmly in this message, because whenever God releases visibility, He also releases covering. What you are stepping into is not exposed, it is guarded. But that protection works best when you understand how to remain hidden in God while still being present in the world. One of the most important lessons of this season is learning the difference between privacy and secrecy. Privacy is holy. Secrecy breeds fear. You are not called to hide what God is doing, but you are called to be selective about who has access to your inner world. Not everyone who celebrates you deserves proximity. Discernment will be your shield. As movement continues, you may sense moments of spiritual sensitivity. Certain environments may suddenly feel heavy. Certain conversations may drain you. This is not weakness. This is awareness. Archangel Michael explains that your spirit is now calibrated to detect what once passed unnoticed. Honor those signals. Leaving a room is sometimes obedience. This season will also test how you handle spiritual opposition. Not dramatic attacks, but subtle resistance. Delays that test patience. Misunderstandings that test humility. Distractions that test focus. Do not overreact. Calm authority disarms opposition faster than emotional defense. You may notice that old insecurities try to resurface when new responsibility appears. Thoughts like, "Am I really ready?" Or "What if I fail?" These thoughts are not warnings, they are echoes. They come from the past, not the present. You are not who you were when the delay began. You not fight these thoughts aggressively. Replace them gently with truth. Archangel Michael urges you to guard your mornings. How you begin your day will shape how you carry your authority. Stillness before noise. Gratitude before agenda. Alignment before activity. These small choices will keep you centered when demands increase. There will be seasons of increased visibility and seasons of quiet progress. Do not favor one over the other. Both serve a purpose. Visibility reveals fruit. Quiet builds roots. You need both to remain healthy. Be mindful of spiritual pride. It is subtle and dangerous. It whispers that you earned this, that you are different, that others should catch up. Shut that voice down quickly. Everything you are stepping into is grace. Gratitude keeps grace flowing. Archangel Michael also speaks about spiritual fatigue. Even good seasons can be tiring. Growth requires energy. Influence requires presence. Do not ignore your limits. Rest is not retreat. It is refueling. God does not need you exhausted to prove obedience. You may feel led to simplify even more as this year unfolds. Less noise. Fewer commitments. Clear focus. This is not withdrawal. This is strategy. Focus multiplies effectiveness. Another layer of protection comes through obedience in small things. Returning messages when prompted. Apologizing quickly. Listening more than speaking. These actions seem ordinary, but they build spiritual credibility. Heaven honors humility. You will also notice that as your peace increases, some people may distance themselves. Let them go without resentment. Not everyone can walk with you into stillness. Some are more comfortable with chaos. Release them with grace. Archangel Michael reassures you that you are not missing anything by choosing peace. What is meant for you will find you in rest, not in striving. Anxiety is not a signal to move faster. It is often a signal to slow down. This season will teach you how to carry weight without pressure, responsibility without fear, authority without control. This balance is rare, and it is precious. Guard it. Be careful with what you consume mentally and spiritually. Not everything deserves your attention. Choose voices that strengthen faith, not stir confusion. Choose content that aligns, not distracts. Your mind is part of your stewardship. As protection deepens, you may experience moments of profound gratitude, sudden awareness of how far you've come, quiet joy that does not need explanation. Let those moments anchor you. They are reminders of God's faithfulness. Archangel Michael says something important here. The safest place you can be is obedient and humble. No strategy is stronger than surrender. No plan is wiser than trust. Stay present with this unfolding. The next message will speak about how to sustain what God is building long-term, without losing joy, balance, or faith. This understanding will help you walk forward not just powerfully, but peacefully. My beloved one, Now heaven turns your attention to sustainability, because what God releases must be maintained with wisdom. Archangel Michael is very present in this moment, reminding you that beginnings are powerful, but endurance is what completes the work. This year is not just about receiving, it is about learning how to carry blessing without losing balance. As things settle into motion, there may be a temptation to relax spiritually, to assume that because momentum has started, vigilance is no longer required. This is where many stumble, not through rebellion but through drift. Small compromises, skip moments of stillness, gradual neglect of what once kept them grounded. Archangel Michael urges you to remain attentive, not anxious, just aware. Sustainability begins with consistency in the unseen. Prayer that is simple but sincere. Reflection that keeps your heart honest. Gratitude that keeps entitlement away. You do not need intensity every day. You need faithfulness. God responds powerfully to steady devotion. This season will also teach you how to say yes wisely. Opportunities will increase, but capacity does not automatically expand at the same rate. Discernment will help you choose what aligns with your assignment and what merely flatters your potential. Saying no is sometimes the most obedient response. Archangel Michael speaks of protecting your joy. Joy is not excitement. It is stability of spirit. When joy is present, you are less reactive, more patient, more resilient. Do not let constant urgency steal it. God is not in a hurry. He is intentional. You may also notice that people expect more from you now. Their expectations can be heavy if you carry them incorrectly. Remember, you are responsible to God first, not to the opinions of others. Serve faithfully, but do not become enslaved to approval. There will be moments when progress feels slower than expected. Do not interpret this as regression. Growth often alternates between movement and integration. What you learn during slower seasons will prepare you for future expansion. Trust the rhythm. Archangel Michael emphasizes the importance of rest again here, because sustained impact requires replenishment. Rest is not laziness. It is obedience. Jesus withdrew often, even when needs were great. Follow that example without guilt. Be cautious of comparison in this phase. When blessings stabilize, comparison tries to creep back in subtly. Someone else's pace, reach, or recognition may look different. That does not diminish what God is doing with you. Comparison is a distraction disguised as evaluation. Another key to sustainability is humility in success. When things go well, remain teachable. Remain prayerful. Remain aware of your dependence on God. Pride rarely announces itself loudly. It often whispers quietly, convincing you that you are self-sufficient. Shut that door quickly. Archangel Michael also speaks about spiritual routines evolving. What sustained you during waiting may need adjustment now. Not abandonment, but refinement. Be open to how God wants to meet you in this new season. Relationship grows when it adapts. Let me pause here and speak directly to you. If this message is helping you stay grounded as you step into this year, take a moment to engage with it. Like this video so it reaches others who are learning how to sustain what God has released. Share it with someone who is stepping into a new season and needs balance, not pressure. Comment something that declares stability and faith over this year. And if you have not yet subscribed, do so now and join this community that walks forward together with wisdom and clarity. Hold on, because what comes next will address a powerful truth many overlook: how God prepares you for future expansion even while you are learning to sustain the present. This insight will shift how you see delays, pauses, and preparation going forward. As sustainability forms, You may notice deeper peace settling in. Decisions feel less reactive. Emotions feel steadier. This is not stagnation. This is grounding. Strong structures are built slowly. Archangel Michael reassures you that heaven is not measuring you by output alone. God looks at alignment, obedience, and heart posture. Faithfulness in small things continues to unlock greater trust. You are learning how to live from overflow instead of effort. That shift changes everything. When you move from overflow, you are less drained, less defensive, and more effective. This is the lifestyle God desires for you. Stay attentive to your inner life. Guard it. Nurture it. The outer world will always demand more, but your inner world determines how well you can give without losing yourself. As this part concludes, remain encouraged. You are not just stepping into blessing. You are learning how to keep it healthy. And what is coming next will speak directly to the final layers of preparation God is completing in you before the full manifestation settles in place. My beloved one, now heaven speaks about completion, because what God begins, He always intends to finish. Archangel Michael is present in this moment to remind you that the preparation you have walked through is reaching its final layers. This does not mean everything suddenly ends. It means everything finally aligns. The loose ends begin to tie together. The questions that lingered quietly start answering themselves without force. You may notice that your perspective on the past has shifted again. Where there was once pain, there is now understanding. Where there was confusion, there is now clarity. This is not denial. This is healing. God is allowing you to look back without being pulled backward. That is a sign of completion within. As this year continues, you will sense a deeper confidence in your direction. Not loud certainty, but calm assurance. You are no longer asking every voice for confirmation. You are learning to trust the inner witness God placed within you. Archangel Michael says this inner stability is one of the final outcomes of the delay. You are now anchored. There will still be decisions to make, but they will no longer feel overwhelming. You will weigh options without fear. You will wait without anxiety. You will move without regret. This emotional steadiness is not accidental. It is the fruit of endurance. One of the clearest signs that preparation is complete is this. You no longer feel the need to prove your story. You are at peace with what you lived through. You no longer explain your absence, your pauses, or your process. Silence feels safe now. That safety is strength. Archangel Michael also speaks about forgiveness here. Not forced forgiveness, but genuine release. You may find that resentment no longer has energy. Old offenses no longer demand attention. This does not mean what happened was acceptable. It means it no longer controls you. Forgiveness is not approval. It is freedom. As completion settles in, you may feel a renewed sense of expectancy. Not desperation, but anticipation. You are not chasing outcomes. You are welcoming them. That posture attracts grace. God responds to openness, not pressure. There may be moments when you are tempted to look for something to fix, simply because struggle became familiar. Resist that impulse. Peace does not mean something is missing. Sometimes it means something is finally whole. Archangel Michael reminds you that faith matures when it learns to rest. You are no longer praying from panic. You are praying from partnership. Conversations with God feel more like alignment than negotiation. That shift is profound. You will also notice a change in how you handle uncertainty. Unknowns no longer threaten you. You understand now that God has carried you through unknowns before. Memory of faith fuels confidence in the future. This season is also about stewardship of testimony. What you share and when you share it matters. Your story carries power, but timing protects impact. Gerwin led that when preju. Some chapters are meant to speak quietly. As completion unfolds, relationships will continue to adjust. Some connections will deepen through mutual respect. Others will fade without conflict. Let this happen naturally. Forcing continuity where alignment has ended only creates strain. Archangel Michael assures you that heaven is satisfied with your obedience. You are not being tested right now. You are being trusted. A distinction matters. Trust is given to those who have proven faithful under pressure. You may sense God inviting you into a broader vision. Not necessarily bigger tasks, but clear purpose. What once felt scattered begins to feel cohesive. Your gifts make sense together. Your experiences connect. This is divine design becoming visible. There will still be learning ahead. Growth never stops. But the foundation is set. You are no longer unstable ground. You are solid footing. What builds on you now will last. Pay attention to moments of quiet joy. Not excitement, but contentment. Those moments are confirmation. They tell you that your soul recognizes alignment even when circumstances are still unfolding. Archangel Michael speaks this gently but firmly. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not recovering lost time. You are stepping into the time that was preserved for you. The truth dissolves regret and restores peace. As this part closes, stay open and attentive. The final unfolding will speak about sealing, blessing, and forward movement. What comes next will not add pressure. It will release assurance. It will bring this message full circle and anchor you firmly in what God has done, what He is doing, and what He is about to complete. My beloved child, we arrive now at a sacred sealing. This is not an ending, but a consecration of everything God has spoken, prepared, delayed, protected, and finally released. Archangel Michael stands as a witness in this moment, declaring that what began quietly is now firmly established. The cycle that started with waiting concludes with assurance. Heaven is not asking you to brace yourself anymore. Heaven is inviting you to stand with confidence. This year did not open randomly for you. It opened intentionally. The timing, the clarity, the internal shifts, the external movement, all of it hath been leading here. You are no longer questioning whether God is involved. You are recognizing how deeply He had been involved all along. What once felt like distance is now revealed as direction. Archangel Michael speaks of sealing because seals represent authority, ownership, and protection. What God releases and seals cannot be casually touched. The peace you carry now is not fragile. It is defended. The alignment you walk in now is not temporary. It is anchored. You are not stepping into something experimental. You are stepping into something established. One of the most powerful confirmations of this sealing is rest. Not physical rest alone, but rest in your spirit. You are no longer striving to convince yourself that things will work out. You know they will. That knowing is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. This is faith mature. You may still face challenges, but they will no longer shake your identity. Obstacles will no longer trigger panic. You have learned how to respond instead of react. That wisdom is part of the release. God did not just give you answers, He gave you discernment. Archangel Michael also declares that what was delayed has now been redeemed. Time was not wasted. It was invested. Nothing you endured was meaningless. Even the moments you thought broke you actually shaped you. That is why you stand differently now. You carry yourself with awareness, not arrogance. With humility, not hesitation. As this year continues, you will walk with a deeper sense of stewardship. You understand that blessing is not something to cling to, but something to manage wisely. This awareness will keep you balanced as increase comes. You will not lose yourself to success because you found yourself before it arrived. There is also a release of peace toward the future. You are no longer afraid of what you cannot see. You trust the one who sees everything. That trust removes pressure. It allows joy to return without fear of disappointment. Joy is no longer risky for you. It is safe. Archangel Michael wants you to hear this clearly. Heaven is proud of your endurance. You did not harden your heart. You did not abandon faith. You stayed open even when answers were slow. That posture invited grace. That grace carried you here. As this message seals, let go of the need to revisit old chapters. You are not called to relive them, to honor them. You honor them by walking forward healed, wiser, and free. The past no longer defines your pace or your expectations. What God is building in your life now will last because it is built on truth, not urgency, on alignment, not anxiety, on obedience and not performance. This is why it feels different. This is why it feels right. Now receive this final declaration. You are not waiting for permission. You are walking in authority. You are not hoping for alignment. You are living in it. You are not chasing what was delayed. It has been released and entrusted to you. Before we close, there is a sacred act of agreement. Type "I walk in divine timing" in the comments if this message confirms what God has been doing in your spirit. Blessing code 9017 is now sealed over your life. And now, let this final transition be received with reverence. This word did not end here because its assignment continues through willing hands. As you respond now through super thanks, membership, or PayPal in the description, you are sowing into a living stream that carries God's voice to those still standing in delay. I hear the Lord saying that those who release seed at the moment of sealing will reap stability, clarity, and multiplied peace. This is not about funding a channel. It is about fueling a mission that rescues faith at critical moments. Your obedience becomes fire on the altar and light on the path for others. I bless every supporter with guarded households, open heavens, and divine return. Act now, and let your giving stand as a prophetic response to what God has completed in you. Remain confident. Remain aligned. What God released at the start of this year is now established, and you are walking forward covered, called, and complete.